Welcome back to Zito. I'm Yang Sheng from the Global Times. Russia claimed that the United States has been developing biological weapons in Ukraine, with documents and evidence it had detained amid its military operations. And the United States keeps claiming that Russia's accusations are disinformation, even if statements from different US officials on the matter are contradictory. And this has caused rising international concerns over US biolabs worldwide. The United States has also accused China of spreading disinformation in support of Russia's outrageous claims, while China only asked it to clarify itself by providing evidence. Why is the US so nervous? This is truly suspicious. According to the information provided by the United States to the Conference of Parties of the Biological Weapons Convention, BWC, there are 336 US laboratories around the world. Scientists and analysts from all around the globe have once again expressed their worries and concerns over the US biological programs. Concerning what the US has done in the past in researching and using biological weapons, the world does have a reason to be worried. Since the end of the Second World War, the US government has cooperated and colluded with Japanese war criminals to obtain data and technologies for producing biological and chemical weapons. These relevant data were from Japan-conducted live human experiments on Chinese war prisoners and civilians during Japan's invasion of China in the Second World War. Unit 731, which is infamous for conducting Japanese biological warfare experiments. It was located near Harbin in Japanese-occupied Manchuria in northeast China and was commanded by Shiro Ishii. The unit was established in 1936 and eventually was comprised of 3,000 personnel, 150 buildings, and the capacity to hold 600 prisoners at a time for use in experiments. However, the war criminals of this terribly evil military force had not been punished, since they can provide the United States what it wants. Ishii and his colleagues were granted immunity in the International Military Tribunal for the Far East by the United States government in exchange for information and research for the US biological warfare program. Just before Japan's defeat in World War II in 1945, Ishii, commander of the Unit 731, issued an order to blow up the unit's experimental facilities and kill the testees in a bid to cover up his unit's inhuman atrocities. By that time, the United States had learned of the base established in Harbin. From September 1945 to November 1948, the United States repeatedly sent investigators from Fort Detrick to thoroughly investigate the unit. It aimed to obtain and use the data collected from experiments on live humans using biological organisms, including anthrax and bubonic plague, and thus a backdoor deal was struck between the United States and Japan. Chinese experts conduct research on the human experimentation report at the center of the US-Japan backroom deal. The 1,522-page report containing the core material of human experimentation atrocities conducted by Unit 731 was made public. In this secret deal, Fort Detrick of the US Army spent 250,000 yen, about several thousand US dollars at that time, obtaining data and medical papers on human experiments, bacterial tests, germ warfare, and toxic gas experiments conducted by Unit 731, according to the experts. After the Central Intelligence Agency was established in 1947, the agency participated in research in Fort Detrick pertaining to the development of the biowarfare weapons. According to the open information and declassified documents, during the Cold War, the US conducted germ warfare during the Korean War against Chinese and North Korean military forces and civilians, and used chemical weapons like Agent Orange during the Vietnam War, which brought serious casualties upon the local people and caused a horrible long-term impact in Vietnam, such as many Vietnamese babies with birth defects, and in 1970s, dioxin, a toxic chemical element contained in Agent Orange, was found in a high concentration in the blood of US military personnel and the breast milk of Vietnamese women. In recent years, there were reports that US bio programs worldwide brought casualties caused by incidents like virus leaking in countries such as Georgia, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, and South Korea. In 2018, Igor Jorgadze, a former state security minister of Georgia, claimed that the US funded medical facility known as Richard G. Lugar Centers for Public Health Research in Georgia could be a cover for a bioweapons laboratory. The former Georgian official said some leaked documents allegedly involve experiments on people that sometimes ended with the deaths of test subjects, while some other files imply some military-related research and the development of biological weapons. The United States denied the accusation and once again labeled this as Russian-made disinformation. But South Korea, a US ally in Northeastern Asia, also has similar concerns over the US biolabs within its territory. According to South Korean media in 2021, a South Korean civic group, Korea Fire Safety Education Cultural Association, sued Fort Detrick and US Forces Korea over the smuggled toxic substance to US military bases here in violation of domestic law. The civic association claimed that the US Forces Korea and the Fort Detrick biolab violated South Korean law and imported toxic substance into the country 3 times between 2017 and 2019. A probe by US Department of Defense released in July 2015 found that a military lab in Utah had failed to neutralize live anthrax spurs and shipped the toxic samples to researchers in 86 laboratories in America and 7 other countries, including South Korea. In May 2015, the US Force Korea said in a statement that anthrax sample experimentation program was conducted at Ulsan Air Base, about 55 kilometers south of the South Korean capital Seoul, according to the Yonhap news agency. According to the results of the joint investigation carried out by South Korean and US militaries, in December 2015, that the statement made by the US Force Korea proved to be false, as it had staged 15 experiments using dead anthrax samples at the Yongsan garrison in Seoul from 2009 to 2014. The United States can't just use words like disinformation or conspiracy theory to respond to all concerns toward its suspicious bio programs worldwide. More and more people around the globe have raised their concerns, and they have urged the US to be transparent and open its labs for investigation. Despite the concerns worldwide, the US has rejected calls for its bioweapons to be monitored under the protocol of the BWC. Some experts said it's hard to hold the US accountable even if we find or know it's doing dirty, inhuman research worldwide. Because under the current international order, the geopolitical landscape is deeply influenced by the US hegemony. It's extremely hard for other countries to impose law enforcement upon the US, and the US has powerful propaganda machines to manipulate public opinions and hijack international organizations to serve its interests. So what do you want to say about the latest reports from Russia about the US biolabs in Ukraine? Do you think the US government is innocent and Russia is spreading disinformation? Or you share concerns about US bio programs? How to make the investigation into US biolabs possible when the United States rejects it? And how can the relevant parties be held accountable? Feel free to share your opinions with us. Thank you for watching and see you next time.